Is the so-called busy spring market in real estate already a thing of the past? Hello, everyone. It's Kris Lindahl. Things have been incredibly busy in the guaranteed cash offer world, but I finally carved out some time to do a new podcast, and this is going to be a juicy one. Between the news headlines and people coming up to me and saying, what the heck is going on with the traditional real estate market? It was time to take a deep dive into all the things I'm seeing and you're probably seeing and try to make sense out of them. Ready? Let's go. When should you list your house? Maybe never, because the busy spring market might be done forever. Hello, everyone. It's Kris Lindahl back with you, and today's podcast is timely no matter when you're listening to it. I'm going to talk about spring, but I'm really talking about fall, as in the fall of the open market and the entire traditional process when it comes to selling a house. As long as I've been in real estate, and it actually started over 75 years ago with the Parade of Homes, people who want or need to sell a house have always focused on the spring. It's that time of rebirth. Winter's over, the flowers are blooming, and presumably buyers are coming out of their hibernation as well. Somewhere along the way, the unofficial start of spring became the day after the Super Bowl. The conventional wisdom was that's when you should put a house on the market. That's the beginning of the busy spring season. And that's when you're going to attract a ton of buyers and start bidding wars and get as much as possible for your house. And it was pretty much true, especially in strong sellers markets like we've seen a lot lately. But what are we seeing now? I'm looking at some headlines I've tabbed in my browser, and here are just some of them. There goes the spring selling season. Spring housing market stalls. Record number of home sales contracts canceled nationwide. It's a buyer's market. 2026 spring housing market has a sluggish start, and I could go on and on. The theme is obvious, and I've talked about some of this in previous episodes, but we might be seeing more than a one-off trend. But first, let's back up a bit. Real estate is cyclical. Everybody knows that. Sometimes it's a buyer's market, sometimes it's a seller's market. I lived through the big crash in 2008 and 2009. In fact, that's right when I started as a real estate agent. Everyone said the sky was falling and there were foreclosures everywhere. More recently, we saw the exact opposite. There was a huge surge in demand in the early stages of the pandemic, and buyers were buying houses sight unseen for way over the asking price. So why am I looking at this current slow spring season and thinking it might be more than just another blip on the radar? I'll tell you, it's not just one thing. It's a perfect storm of three things. Number one, there's the general feeling of uncertainty that seems to be hanging over everyone's head these days. Whether it's local economic conditions, artificial intelligence, or world events, people aren't in much of a mood to think long term. And I don't know when that's going to change. Number two, there's a simple math problem. Things keep getting more expensive, but most people aren't making more money. In fact, I'm hearing more and more stories of people losing their jobs, and then the jobs they're applying for now only pay half of what they used to make. It doesn't take a genius to see the longer term problem in that, especially if it keeps happening to more and more people. And number three is what I call hamburger taxi. Even with all these other pressures, human beings will always choose the faster, easier, and more convenient option. Even when the cost of groceries and gas is going up, people will pay something like $30 to get a hamburger delivered to their house. So if you're looking at all the grunt work and mental stress it takes to sell a house, and you're also feeling uncertain about your job and everything else, and chances are you're not going to do things the traditional way. A fourth factor, which I have a front row seat to, is seeing the seismic shift that's going on right now in the guaranteed cash offer world. We're handing out so many more big red checks than ever before. It's kind of mind-blowing, to be honest. And when I ask the smart sellers who get them, were you skeptical at first about doing a guaranteed cash offer? Some of them still say yes, because it's not, quote unquote, the traditional way to sell a house. But more and more of them say, no, I wasn't skeptical at all because my sister got one, my neighbor got one, my coworker got one. It kind of reminds me of when Uber started. And at first people were like, hold on, isn't it weird that you just get inside a stranger's car. And then within a month, they were doing the same thing and wondering why they ever took a taxi in the first place. When we ask people how it feels to say yes to a guaranteed cash offer, they say some really interesting and amazing things. And instead of just repeating them, I'm going to play some real recordings of actual smart sellers talking to us right after they got their big red check. Here we go.
Oh my God, it made the last month or so incredibly easy.
It's simplified, drastically simplified this way.
I wouldn't sell my house any other way, to be quite frank.
It allowed me to focus on everything else in life.
The big red check is just one and done. We just walk away from it with a nice big red check and not have to do anything.
Not having to deal with strangers in the house, touring, dealing with just Kris's people was a joy. They were very friendly, very understanding.
The fresh start has been amazing to us. We loved the quick easiness of the cash offer and being able to move super quickly through the process, and it definitely has helped with us moving on to the next chapter of our lives.
I've had to sell a house before, and doing open houses and the cleanup and the maintenance, and then having a buyer want to have a few small things fixed and the back and forth, and that's just a big, long process.
The amount of stress that you would normally go through disappears, and I think that is worth so much.
We didn't want to deal with the hassle, and it's been the most seamless process, so really glad we made this decision.
There is value in simplicity and ease and stress-free.
They just make it very easy. They really have their systems down. The transaction actually went into my dad's estate account the same day.
No back and forth or negotiating, here's what it is.
Holding my big red check feels good. Get this check, put it in the bank. My house is gone. It's in good hands.
Holding my big red check feels great because it's allowing me to close a chapter on my life and reopen another one.
Holding my big red check feels like I'm entering the next stage of my life. I'm having an opportunity to go someplace where I can enjoy life a bit.
This is the way to do it, in my opinion.
Wow. I love listening to those smart sellers talk about their experience. Their words mean a lot. But what means more is the emotion in how they talk about the experience. The sense of relief, of being free, of getting rid of something that was holding them back. It's really, really powerful. So when I experience that and I look at the bigger shifts that are happening in the world, in the economy, in consumer expectations for certainty, speed, and convenience, I can't help but think, the whole busy spring market, parade of homes era is quickly becoming a thing of the past. Sure, taxi cabs still exist. Some people still shop at brick and mortar stores. You can still buy a pencil if you really want one, but it's not where the momentum is. It's not where things are going. It's not the future, and in many ways, it's not even the present. Bottom line, the spring season in real estate isn't happening this year like it used to, and I don't think this is a one-off thing. It's a perfect storm of fundamental changes, and I don't see the genie going back into the bottle anytime soon, if ever. People are realizing that selling a house can be as easy as trading in a car, and they don't have to wait until spring to do it. They don't have to deal with fickle or emotional buyers. They don't have to do anything to their houses. They don't have to stress out about constant back and forth negotiations. They can sell a house right now really fast. They can get a big red check and have the funds in their account the same day. They can have confidence in the buyer following through and getting them to the finish line. And they can get that fresh start in life they've always wanted. That's where things are going. That's it for today. I hope this episode made you think a little bit and maybe see things a little differently. If you're looking for a fresh start in your own life, I hope you don't wait another day to get it. And I'll see you next time on the Guaranteed Cash Offer podcast.